Welcome back to Autism Unmasked. This is part 2 of our interview with Miss Winnie. Picking up from where we left off previously, we will now be discussing about how one can connect with children with ASD and how Miss Winnie's teaching experience helped provide support to students with ASD. I would also like to know, in the classroom naman po, knowing that children with ASD often have difficulties communicating, how do you adjust your communication approach po to better support them? And can you describe a time when you work with a student with ASD and you were able to really connect with them and it gave them a sense of parang accomplishment po na you really communicated with them?
Ah, very common is yung I try to immerse myself dun sa interest nila. So just recently, one of the cases that I have handled, yung interest niya is mga books ni Rick Riordan. So I don't really love reading books, so I have to buy books ni Rick Riordan and then go through the books and then try to talk to him about the characters, the setting and all, which is very helpful kasi although the book is fantasy, yung mga Rick Riordan books kasi mostly based sa mythology. So
Okay.
fantasy stories and all, and I get their interest. I immerse myself with their interest, and then if I get the chance, we call it teachable moments. So may chance na he's very engrossed with the character. I try to integrate a little bit of personal experiences. So how would you relate? I try to ask, how would you relate yourself to the character in the story? So dun ko na napapractice yung pag-integrate ng social skills, no, learning to be more personal, and then I try to get something from them based on their interest. Yun.
Oh, that's really nice po, miss. It really shows na you really exert effort on your part po to really talk to them and communicate with them. Based on your answer naman po, how do you handle issues naman po in the classroom? Like they have behavioral challenges and sensory processing difficulties. What do you do po to ensure na you can manage the classroom and yun nga po na ma-manage po yung sensory processing difficulties po nila within the classroom?
For learners with autism kasi, it's very important that you set expectations for them to be flexible tsaka maiwasan yung mga meltdowns. Very rigid kasi sila eh. When they go to a certain situation, a certain environment, meron na sila mga expectations na ganito yung mangyayari. And sometimes, kapag hindi na meet yung expectations sila, doon nagkakaroon ng trigger. So, one of the techniques or strategies that I use is to pre-orient these children na these are the things that might happen and may not happen. So setting expectations really helps them to manage themselves and also their emotions when they get the chance or when they experience things na hindi naman talaga nila gusto or make them feel uncomfortable. So yun yung behavior part. It's very easy for, not very easy, but just to set expectation. Behavior also is a learned thing. So, kung bata yan, yung setting of expectations, usually I use that for adolescents. Yan. Pero kapag bata pa, so mga halimbawa grades 3 pababa, pag behavior pa yung tina-target natin, very easy to manage pa with reinforcement. So, if you give them consequences, if you explain to them their actions, and then you also reinforce naman yung mga positive behavior, madali pang i-manage yung mga expected behavior sa kanila. Pero when it comes to sensory integration, we ask help from OTs kasi sila yung may expertise sa mga ganyang bagay. So usually, depende yan kung visual, hearing, even taste or smell, very sensitive sila. Ang experience ko naman, commonly they are sensitive sa noise. Yung mga konting bagay lang, gagana na sila. Nade-distract na sila inside the classroom. So yung mga ganung bagay na pwede namang resolbahan inside the classroom, sometimes we have noise cancelling headphones or we ask help from the parents na baka pwedeng mag-provide ng earphones that they could use inside the classroom. We try to be flexible sa needs nila so they could adjust inside the classroom. Pero pag medyo kailangan na ng tulong, medyo kailangan ng additional support, we try to consult OTs kasi sila talaga yung may mga experience and they provide a certain program na pwedeng gamitin not only inside the classroom pero continuation siya outside din.
Mm. So, aside from focusing solely naman po on students with ASD, of course, they're heavily influenced by their environment, as you said po kanina, and especially their classmates. And so, how do you work with other students in the classroom to promote acceptance and understanding of students with ASD naman po? Aside from siguro yung briefing po na sinabi niyo kanina.
Yes. Orientation is very important. If the students are already a little bit na medyo high school na, mas madali nang ipaintindi kasi sa mga students. Pero kapag lower level, as much as possible, you try to be the best role model that you can. I remember this incident during, sorry, natatawa ko, nagka-come back lahat kasi ng mga memories. So there is this one child na medyo malikot siya. And then nabagsak niya yung clock sa classroom. And usually, ang common reaction ng classmate is to point at that person and tell, lagot ka, no? So
Yes.
you have to let the students understand what happened and you have to make them sure what should be the priority reaction when that situation comes in. So halimbawa, nalaglag yung clock, nabasag yung glass. Ang priority reaction natin dapat is not to blame the person but to make sure that hindi siya nasugatan kasi it's glass. So, you try to
Yes.
explain to the students na, oh no, nabasag yung clock. It's made from glass. What do you think we should do? Gaganon. So, may processing na kasama, not only with the child with difficulty, but dun sa whole class. So, for them, when that situation happens again, accident man yan, they know that the priority reaction is not to blame, but to make sure that everybody's
Yes.
safe yung mga ganong situation.
It's really important po talaga na you really serve as a role model to how you will react, how you will handle the situation po, no?
Yes.
Yes. So, how would you say po your teaching experience has helped in providing support to students with ASD?
Kasi yung personality ko talaga as an individual is very lax and calm. And then most people will tell me to show also my emotions. Pero I am the type of person na mahaba yung pasensya and I try to be understanding all the way up until as much as I can. So in my teaching experience and in handling learners with difficulties, I learned how to be a little bit firm. Kasi as a teacher, it's not just about being understanding. Kasi pag understanding ka lang, darating ka sa point na magiging passive ka na lang sa approach mo with other people. So you also have to be firm. When you see that something is wrong, you have to make sure that you explain it to the child. Kasi it will also help them know the difference and how to act in a certain situation. Able to learn how to manage yung balance between being lenient and being firm inside the classroom. And that would really help build an inclusive environment for everybody, not just for the child.
So, how would you say po, like, your experience in teaching influence your teaching philosophy naman po and approach in the classroom?
Oh, interesting question. Kasi when you're learning inside the classroom, dun sa course ng teaching, there are a lot of pedagogies to learn and theories. But when you're
Yes.
already exposed to the actual situation, all of those theories will not matter anymore. It's up to you how you're going to handle that situation, that problem inside the classroom. I guess ang mangyayari lang dyan is you'll be challenged on how are you going to solve a problem of not just one person but the whole class. So siguro yun yung naging challenge sa akin. That's why yung mga philosophies na napag-aralan, yung mga pedagogies, they are helpful, but it is really the actual experience that will hone you and make you know what type of teacher do you want to be and what type of children do you want to develop. So yun yung
Yes.
experience ko.
Sabi niyo nga po parang it's really how you grow into your career po, no? Can you share with us your most memorable experience as an educator of children with special needs, particularly those with ASD? Or if wala naman po, siguro kahit children with special needs na lang po in general.
Marami, pero not really children with special needs. Mostly dun sa neurotypical learners, yun sa mga walang diagnosis. Kasi
Oh,
naging memorable experience sa akin. Walang specific, but whenever I see them outside school or during tertiary level na or outside when they graduate, when I see them that they're using the things na na-experience nila in the inclusive setting to help raise awareness sa neurodevelopmental disorders. Happy na ako doon. Yun na yung pinaka-memorable experience ko. Kasi it's easy to provide intervention and strategies sa learners with difficulties. What is challenging is to make sure that yung mga wala naman diagnosis, they also get to learn from their experiences with their classmates with learners with difficulties. So, kapag may mga students akong nakikita na, ay students na without diagnosis na kumuha ng
mm.
architecture, and then you'll see na yung thesis nila about building a preschool for diverse learner, that's really a plus thing sa akin. So, ibig sabihin, I was able to touch them
Wow.
also and inspire them. So, yun yung mga memorable experience sa akin for me as an educator.
That's really nice po, no? Seeing your students po na grow into their own careers po talaga. And like you said, na parang ginagawa rin nilang advocacy yung spreading awareness to neurodevelopmental disorders. So yeah. Yeah, we're actually nearing the end of this interview. But before we wrap up, the next set of questions will conclude our session by taking pieces of advice from you po, Miss Winnie. As you may know po, this podcast, Autism Unmasked, is a part of our project Autism Sense, which actually aims to develop an avenue to spread awareness and educate the youth and promote meaningful exchange regarding ASD po. So, this question bears so much to our cause and will certainly help us move forward. The question is, how do we help support a child with ASD?
Very very timely naman that I was browsing on my Instagram and then I saw this there is this book entitled Inside Daniel's Head. It's a Filipino book published by Adarna House. I haven't read it yet, but it's about a
Mm.
boy with autism, and the author is Miss Georgie Reyes Santos, whom I think is also a special education teacher. So in the story, Daniel, the character, said, "We all share one planet, but many times I feel like there are two worlds in this one planet, my world and your world. I find myself being forced to join you in your confusing world. I notice, though now I do, that seldom does anyone join me in mine. I wonder why." So I think sometimes people or professionals in the special education industry, they always try to enforce a lot of things to learners with ASD. But what
Mhm.
we forget is that we also need to learn their world. And through my experience, I think it's very important that we also try to join ourselves and immerse ourselves into what their interests are. It might be a little bit weird, it might be a little bit nonconformist, but in that way, we could show inclusion at the same time, make them feel included, not only inside the school, but also outside school. And eventually, when they get into the real world, when they get the chance to be on their own already, it's,
Yes.
it's important that they also learn how to value who they are and what their interests are. Not just sa sarili nila, but also they would know na we're also interested in supporting their needs. Yeah.
Yes. We really force other people to fit into what we call our society. Pero it's rare na we take the chance or effort to really go or delve into their own realities po talaga. The last question naman po would be for the benefit of the teachers who would like to pursue a career in special education. what advice can you give to aspiring teachers in the special education field?
Uh, it's always a team effort, not just you. Kasi sometimes dumarating din sa burnout phase that you think there's something wrong. As a teacher, maybe there's something wrong with me. That's why my intervention is not working. But it's always
Mm-hmm.
a team effort. Sabi nga, you cannot raise a child alone. It should be a village or something like that. I forgot that. I forgot the expression, but it's something like that. So it's always a team effort. Include other people. Include other professionals, include the parents, include the students, the teachers, include even other people outside their regular environment, include them. Because in that way, it would be a team effort in molding the child of becoming who they are. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's a wrap na po. We still have so many things to talk about, but sadly, we have to cut this session to an end. I believe this session has been very insightful. And once again, thank you for dedicating your time to us, Miss Winnie Paz. You have
Thank you.
shared great stories that not only enlightened us on your experience with special education, but also helped us understand ASD better. Thank you po. Thank you.
Thank you then.
Yes. And for our listeners, thank you for listening to this episode of Autism Unmasked. We hope this gave you an insight into how special education helps students with ASD and how it plays an important role in their growth and development. We look forward to being part of your journey as you learn more about autism and help those in need. If you'd like to learn more, please visit our website autismsense.info for more resources. This podcast is brought to you by Autism Sense. Once again, I am your host, Jayana Magadia, and you just tuned into Autism Unmasked. Until next time.